450.
Happening.
Greetings and good vibes, everybody. We are back and a little bit of a different location, but as y'all know, we were coming down to DC for Poor People's Campaign, the mass march on DC, which is tomorrow, June 18th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can make it. Oh yeah, it's today now because you're right. Y'all can talk. Y'all can talk freely. I don't care. Unless y'all like if there's anything you don't want to be heard, that's fine.
Yeah, you're good.
And we're not live actually, we're recording. So there's that. But you had brought up the Lincoln Memorial, excuse me. It really doesn't matter to me, but you asked how many people were there, whatnot. I'm curious to see how many people are going to show up tomorrow is my answer to that.
There's a lot of people in town, more than usual.
That's what I keep feeling. Like I keep feeling like there's signs everywhere.
Yes.
I keep feeling like there's this vibe. Like when
I
we
definitely
touch down tomorrow for that march.
I feel like there's going to be a lot more people
Like I
tomorrow
haven't seen
than
this
there
since
was
the Pope was here,
yesterday.
honestly.
Listen,
But I wasn't down here for like any of the Black Lives Matter stuff either, or
that
like,
was
the women's
there was
that was
marches.
packed. It was packed. I have pictures of that shit, and I was at the
Same.
top in the front, and I
Oh,
looked,
you got the good views.
and
All right.
I did, and it was like it was awesome. But it was like just us kind of huddled around the podium, and there was the tour buses were docking there basically. So it was like a skunk or something. It was like
Trash pandas. It's
Weird.
just a trash can too. Come on.
nah, it was like scores of rollerbladers and cyclists and tourists all around, and we're sitting here weeping about grieving, and it was just it's a little awkward. It wasn't many people.
It also doesn't help that there's like 4 or 5 guys who were just like talking shit and like being loud for no reason. Even the one reverend was like, regardless of the fact that people want to show up and cause a scene and make a mess, like it's still time to mourn. As the person's like 10 feet behind them, like.
And I wonder if that was he's speaking of Bishop Barber. I wonder if that was his intention, because yeah, there was this particular guy who was at the dinner.
I think so.
And
yeah.
he was yelling and making a ruckus there, but I think he might have been houseless or has some issues going on. But whatever we had going on, stuff resonated with him, so he ended up taking part in lynching.
I mean, I understand.
So he followed us, right?
Like definitely, like being in those situations and like having those things go on. Like I definitely understand that, like guttural, just like angry reaction.
There was something he said that was about the way we were doing the action or something. He didn't like the way it was handled or something. I can't remember his words, but it had to do with that energy.
I feel like the only thing that I really had a problem with was like I don't remember who it was specifically, but they were almost like instructing us on how to feel, you know, and like that was the vibe that I got, because it was like,
well, that's kind of what I was touching on, because when that guy had started like being loud, Bishop
Mhm.
Barber got up on the mic, and then he proceeded to speak about um it's sad when people are like that, but we have to kind of like say, he was basically saying we have to set the example. Um, if you know better, you do better. If you don't, like, we can't necessarily hold you accountable until you do.
Yeah.
But there has to be some kind of groundwork for you to see and be inspired by. Let it be that. Essentially, is what he meant. But he said, okay, well, we're not gonna laugh. Like, we're not here to laugh anyway. So it immediately just became this like, he flipped it. It was a different vibe after that. Bishop Barber got up, he said his words. Uh, Liz Steele Harris got up and said her words, but then there was some powerful music by this woman.
So good. Incredible.
Yes, I got footage of it, so you can catch her. I got her on live, and then I got another performance she did after these two women got up, and the one spoke about how many lives she lost during COVID, right? And then the other one got up and spoke about how her best friend uh, had texted her in the middle of the night, and it wasn't too random for that to happen, but 15 minutes later, 17,
17 minutes.
she was no longer there, and she was sleeping. She didn't get the message until she was and what I gathered from that was that it was a police officer, because she said that her daughter had called her right before we got there for that event and said that the person who murdered my mom just walked past me. That's when I started tearing up, and then the woman got up and started singing, but she sung to that woman. I was like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm done."
I'm
like,
not crying.
yeah,
That
it
was a
was,
mess.
yeah. And then after that, they had the whole wall up for people to put loved ones that they lost due to like COVID or poverty in general. And that's when Bella went up, and it was by the end of it, it was powerful, but I was exhausted at that point. Like, it was a long day.
I was
And so,
emotionally drained.
yeah, that's what I was getting at, was the dinner, and then that action, the vigil. I think that was a lot for people. The dinner itself was draining. Sitting under that sun, oh my goodness.
You were
I
there
was
for so long too.
Oh yeah, I got there at 2.
Yeah, we didn't
It's
even get
supposed to
like
be a
in
high of
DC until
74
5.
tomorrow.
I'll take that over
Yeah,
100.
me too.
So
I will be
I just-
energized.
Yes.
Want to point out something?
Yeah.
How many millionaires
Oh,
That's a good question.
and you know what? They touched on that too. Bishop Barber was saying, you know,
What would be the
it was
societal reaction if a bunch of billionaires dropped dead from COVID?
talk about it.
Or like if you send a bunch of these rich kids into the military and all of them came up dead, there would be a whole change in everything and how our structure is, the way our society is
I
structured.
don't think that anyone should be exempted from military service. If they're going to make a draft, it should be a universal draft. And
Mhm.
it should be money around it. I mean, if you really want to sacrifice lives, then every life carries the same level of value.
Talk
I
about
also
it.
think the problem is like this idea, like kind of going off of that of like sacrificing lives and everything. Like our society is so hypocritical, and it's so pro-life, and it's keeping things alive and doing all these things while 19 kids get gunned down in Uvalde.
Okay, but let's point out something else, okay? Okay, now you start. Okay, I hope you know what you start. 'Cause
Okay.
you gotta tell
I'm here to
everybody.
talk.
Let's get
Okay,
into
so
it.
let's go.
Mhm.
Take your time.
Get it together.
So, just period. The entire pro-life movement makes no fucking sense
Agreed.
on general principle, because A, you care everything up until the point that child is born.
Then
are
you don't
pro-life-
give a shit.
Right, exactly. So if you are pro-life, be fucking pro-life. Otherwise, say that you're pro keeping people pregnant and oppressed. That's all.
That is what it is. It's not
Enslaved
about,
through
but this is how they
pregnancy, 'cause
operate.
that's what it
Right.
is.
No, but
They'll
wait,
show what they're actually
it's not
saying,
just-
but
Poverty
But
it's
it's not just that either. See, that's where you're halfway there, but you're not quite there.
Yeah,
The
parenting
point.
is slavery.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
But the
We're
point
raising the next generation
of
of
the
workers.
pro-life
Yeah.
movement is not.
And it's all
to keep
unpaid
people
labor.
pregnant.
But this is what
It
he's
is
getting at.
to-
Like, this takes it a step further. Is
It
that
is to keep
essentially
white
what they?
white.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. You're onto
Okay,
something there.
so let's no.
No,
Because they'll be the
There's a lot of-
quickest to give
but
somebody.
no,
in.
that's one point.
What's the abortion rates right now on white women? 40%, over 40%. Okay, why? They're getting abortions. Why? Because they don't feel the need to have children. What does that do to the white population against the when they are the lowest ranked population in terms of size in the entire fucking planet? That reduces an already catastrophically low number to lower and lower, and then wait, here we go. Now we're getting all these half breeds. Now we've got people like me. We've got people who've got their DNA that are polluting their DNA. Okay, so now you're effectively gradually eliminating the white man. And what does that do that pisses off? The wealthy white man. And so what does he do? Now he backs himself with religious founding. He backs himself with his money. And he says, I am pro-life. I endorse that every life counts. That life starts at 18 days after conception. What the fuck? Do you know what life is defined as? Life is defined as the capability to survive in an environment.
But see, that's part of their whole point. What they're literally saying is, we want to rape you. Even if you're my sister, I'm going to get you pregnant, and I don't want you to have anything to do about it.
And you're going to carry this kid.
And that's the start of everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a removal of power, and it's
Yes.
putting the power play back into their hands, which has
Yes.
always been their fucking goal. It is
Yes.
what it is. I don't give a shit.
But it's layered under all these
It's layered under-
layers.
There's so much nuance within like this conversation in this group.
Yeah, no, but it's fucking ridiculous because it really drives me insane. If you really look at facts and figures and you analyze, I was looking at why am I spacing on the word? Anthropological chart, right? That works out the delineation of pure races, because we're all human, just different phenotypes, but whatever. The common phenotypes and how eventually the scale will plateau and it will even out. Okay, they say that within the next 50 to 100 years, based on the fact that humanity makes it that far, let's be clear, that people will equalize out to be about my skin tone or a little bit darker with red eyes. You know why? Adaptation to blue light. A lot of people don't realize that. Your eye color is gradually changing. With every generation that you're exposed to blue light from technology, it will cause your eyes to develop their own protection mechanisms, which will be a built-in feature to cancel out the blue light that's being put in. As a matter of fact, your thumbs will also change. Okay? What you don't realize is right now you have an extremely limited range of motion on your thumbs. What do we do all day? We text, we type. What will happen eventually? Our thumbs will become more like fingers and less like thumbs. We'll have a wider range of movement. Whether or not our grip will change, I can't speak to that because we haven't seen the evolutionary pattern yet. But when you see in scientific proof the removal of your power based on skin tone, that does a lot to a weak-willed, highly arrogant, but doesn't really have shit to back it up with except for the number of digits in his bank account. What does that do? Like, what does that do to you? You removing the only thing that he himself dictates as his personal worth, is his power.
It's the Achilles heel of the system that they constructed that they did not think would happen.
Well, of course not, because the systems were already in place to oppress, but unfortunately, what are the interesting things? The one-drop law. I love that. Okay? According to the one-drop law, did you know that it was like 75% of politicians, when the one-drop law went into effect, would have had to have had their secondary families put back? You didn't know that?
No.
Oh my God, let's see. There was Benjamin Franklin. There was Andrew Jackson. I'm not sure about Abraham Lincoln because he was a little bit. That's a whole nother fucking thing. Don't even get me started on Abraham Lincoln. But there were all these politicians that are on our banknotes, that are in our history books, that talk about all these things. That guess what? They were perverse, sick rapists.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay? And
Precisely.
they kept trophies of their rapes. That's what the children were. And they were free labor.
And the thing is, what's sad
And
is
those
like
are the family values that are getting passed down as
Yes.
family
that's
values.
what I'm about
Yes.
to say.
All
Like
from
nothing has
tradition.
changed within
Yeah, and
politics
this is
in
so
that regard.
Nothing has
deeply
changed
rooted
within
in a
politics in
person's
years.
value
Nothing has changed within
that they
politics
feel
within the
shame
past
for
100
not
years.
feeling
Yeah.
that
It's just that they
way.
changed the name. Reform.
Talk about it.
Reform is the fucking word that pisses me off more than anything.
It just took a new form.
Exactly. But
That's
they're
what
not reforming anything. They're reforming their words while enforcing the same tactics. That's it. Okay, it's fucking bullshit. It really doesn't matter.
Synonyms for this shit.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's,
basically.
Yep.
that's exactly
Just
what
coming up with new synonyms so that people
This
can
sounds
continue
nicer
each
than if we said it
generation
that
its
way. It'd
new
be a little
language.
softer if we
Yeah.
talk about it this way.
But no, it drives me insane when you see all of these people that are sitting there backing politicians that have nothing. Okay, so here's a fun thing, and I don't remember the exact name for it, but Congress recently passed something about themselves yet again,
Of course.
to where they have access now to what's called it's like black funds. Okay, it's modeled after the CIA in the 70s, how they would cycle drug money in for their own funding. So essentially, what these politicians can now do is they can have bank accounts listed, and they can withdraw an unlimited amount of funds from these bank accounts from any donor who wants to donate to the bank account, and use it towards whatever they need to further their political career.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You want to know a nice way to pass a bribe? You pass a law.
Mm. Mm.
Yep.
We have the only political system in place where politicians vote on their own fucking raises, except for dictatorships. Okay? If you want to call anything a political system, then I include democratic for the most part, because there's like 219 countries now that are all democratic. So
Yeah.
basically a good chunk of the world. But none of them vote on their own fucking raises for their salaries except for America. None of them.
It's because this entire country is money driven
No, this
and
entire
power
country.
driven.
Exactly. And what right now defines power?
Money.
But do you want to know the funny thing? And this is something that was pointed out to me a long time ago. You can take the richest man in the world and you put a gun to his mouth, and he will beg for his life and give away everything because he knows in that moment his money is absolutely nothing.
Talk about it.
Okay? It's just a fact. All the money in the world is not going to stop when people finally get fed up. When people finally get fed up and they're at the gates, you know what those security guards are going to do? They're going to say, not my fucking problem. And they're going to go home, their families. You know why? Because dying for someone else, not going to happen. Especially not the people that are driven only by money.
Like they did on January 6th.
That's a whole
Talk
other-
about it.
Oh,
Talk
Dude,
about
the fact that we had people that were in our seat of government, and regardless of the fact that they were citizens, regardless of the fact that whatever their political affiliations were, if you raid the Capitol, kill people, and attack people, you're a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
You should be treated as such.
Mhm.
That's it.
Biggest problem I had with all of that. Obviously, the entire event was a fucking shit show. Problem is, any event that we would have been a part of, especially someone who looks like John Tao, whole different
it
conversation.
would have been a massacre.
Exactly. Would have been a bloodbath.
So let's talk
It
about
was
that.
when they were just trying to
Do you wanna-
exercise their right to.
See,
So
but I don't even think about it that way. I think about it as in like there's a big chunk of this country that really wanted to do what they did, but not in that exact manner. I think we all like right, but like
Like, I want to push these 6 old men down the stairs. I know 4 of them are on Alzheimer's medication. Like, come on.
But-
come on.
it drives.
Go home.
right, like and we had to have people that it was. I think for them it wasn't actually anything that they wanted to come from that as far as like furthering our country. I think if anything it was more like a symbolic stunt for them to just say, hoorah, we did this. More than like the implications that actually came from it, because a lot of them didn't expect to get even.
But I feel like that's how it
you
is
know,
with
no.
a lot of situations.
No,
Not even
no,
just
no,
January
no.
6th. It just
Hold on. I'm gonna respond to that right there.
Right.
You missed a very important point right there.
Huh.
They didn't expect any repercussions.
Exactly.
Because why?
Well,
he had their back.
not even
No.
just it's not Trump
the
because Trump's a some
entitlement.
right. Trump's a some symbolic. He's
Mhm.
just the figurehead of what they all
the
stand for. As
entitlement.
he's the culmination of all that. Really, yeah. It's the entitlement. This is and
Like they're like,
that's
I'm a white American. Don't treat me
that's
like
what
I'm
I
black.
find so insulting to the rest of us because
That's-
something could have really came from it if it was
He just shows his
America
face about
doing
it.
That was recorded when they were arresting a guy at the fucking airport. Don't treat me like I'm black. Are you fucking kidding me?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if it would have been one of our protests, it would have been a completely different circumstance.
Yeah, no, I'm
That's-
not saying
Mhm.
necessarily a bloodbath. I'm not saying that because they don't like to spill blood on the Capitol. You know what I mean? But am I saying that y'all would have had a different level of force use?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Not a doubt in my mind.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, they were using. I'm gonna go way back, right? They were using water hoses that can punch through cement
Mhm.
on protesters.
Yep.
For the civil rights movement. They were sicking dogs.
Yep.
They were hitting people on the recent Black Lives Matters. They were taking
so
batons that are this long,
Uh-huh.
that are made out of hard wood and weighted like it's a bat.
when
Yeah.
I came down here for the march on DC, we came
Mhm.
down here the night before like this, right? And we got all decked out in our gear. I think, no, Becca wasn't here. And we went to Black Lives Matter Plaza, right? That night they had like the Republican convention or some shit, but it was around the front of the White House. We were on the back. And it was a meeting of activists from all over the nation that had descended, and we're all sharing stories with one another. It was really amazing. And then like that, the air changed. And literally like, and I feel a lot of things and I just know stuff, but I could feel something was about to happen before I could see them. And it was like maybe about 100 or so of these young white men in suits. And then there were a bunch of cameras following. Maybe like a few white women with them. And they come walking around through the crowd as if nothing's going to happen to them. And for the most part, like we knew we were being baited, so many people didn't really bother.
Right.
But there were, your rowdy people that tried to start shit. There was also like it was a bunch of us right there in the plaza, right? Like facing the back of the White House. But coming from the opposite direction of where all the white nationalists were coming from was a group of Black Lives Matter protesters that had just got done marching. And I watched these motherfuckers clash. And it was like, you see stuff in slow motion as it's building up. And then when it hits, everything just, the momentum just, because we were a group of people, we turned to go running away. And I turned and I looked down the plaza, like straight down. And by that point, it was chaotic. But I remember seeing one of those white nationalists, somebody took him and threw him like across the street. And then you just see this mass group of people just running towards. I was like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here. But it was that being baited and them broadcasting it on TV. They made a whole like promotional video saying like, this is what they do. And they threw in all kinds of riot scenes from across the nation and tried to make it seem like it coincided with that. People bought that shit.
The problem is that they're every riot, everybody bitches about a riot is valuing property of people.
Mhm.
Like it's stupid. And the whole I don't give
No, go ahead.
like I don't give a flying fuck what your political preference is. But when you value property over fucking people, there's an intrinsic problem. Because everybody was like, oh well you're
But the point
no wait, I remember hold on.
Uh-huh.
So you said a word that triggered me and I needed a minute to work my brain back to where I was at. Nationalism.
Right.
I hate
How
It
much
was-
blood is spilled on nationalism?
It was like
blood is
we
spilled
had
on
a
it was
nationalism?
like saying
terrifying experience
Charlottesville,
this
morning.
except they didn't have the
Blood on
tiki
nationalism.
torches.
Oh yeah.
That
No,
Yeah,
it's insane.
What were you gonna say?
nationalism.
it is. We went to my stepson's 8th grade graduation
Not
today, and they
same
did
thing.
like the pledge and the Star Spangled Banner and asked everybody to stand, and we
I will
didn't.
not.
And like I could just feel. Ooh, like I felt like we were gonna get jumped when we walked out of there. My heart was racing, and like that's nothing really. Like people.
I was.
I do
It was
not and
my
will
senior.
not.
It was my senior year of high school. I was at a football game because I was a cheerleader, and like they did the pledge and everything, like the national anthem, and I took a knee because fuck that shit.
Well,
And
but
I had this older dude come up to me, and he was like, "Why did you kneel?" And I'm like, "Because I don't stand for a flag that doesn't stand for me."
So I said something almost identical to that when we were sitting there,
Mhm.
and I said, "Why the fuck would I respect a country that doesn't respect my life?"
That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Okay, that's really what it gets down to.
Yeah.
If you want to inspire national pride, you need to have a reason for national pride.
Yeah.
We have the worst poverty ratio. Okay, and I'm not talking about like what our levels of poverty are. I'm saying from our highest to our lowest.
Yeah.
Eh, Vatican,
Vatican doesn't compare to Elon Musk's pay scale.
Mhm.
really?
Elon Musk
That man is
makes
worth more than
6,000
God.
Listen,
times more
we
than his
don't
lowest
know,
employee.
but we don't know what things the Vatican holds that are of value, that are like
Okay, well,
maybe
then
not
you
even
can't-
worth.
You call it priceless. Priceless.
Yeah.
knowledge,
Exactly.
priceless knowledge.
I'm just
but
saying.
that's about the
But-
point.
but
I'm
you're right.
saying, I'm saying like,
Right.
if we were, I'm talking about in terms of like income to poverty levels, not wealth. Wealth is different. Like, if we were to compare that, then I honestly don't know who'd stand at the top. I mean,
Right.
Then
Like
you
to be
count assets and property.
Why does that car sound like that?
because it's a hybrid.
That just creeped me out, and that color was fucking awesome.
Like
But-
tomatoes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, like it's insane how our ratio right now is lower according to the cost of a house than it was in the Great Depression. Like the income to
Yep.
buying a house ratio is way lower than it was during the Great Depression. And you had people driving across the country and begging for a gallon of gas to escape. You know what I mean? And they
Where
were
can
making
y'all?
more.
Where do y'all see America in 5 years?
I can't even project the next 6
Yeah,
months.
I was gonna
Honestly,
say 5 years is too far.
So much can change.
How about 2024?
I can't even see.
if I'm being honest,
Your
I can-
face right now.
I can see
And what do we see? What would we
2024.
like to see though? What do we want to see?
No, I mean, if
No,
I,
because that's a whole different
I'm saying
conversation.
right. I'm
I
saying
want to see the plants take over.
yes. Same.
have you
Did y'all
watched-
ever
tired
see?
of these
Oh, so
flat,
you're about to
like
talk about that
scaped
that show.
gardens.
I was gonna
After
say,
you-
Like,
have you? There's
look
this
at
like
this.
cartoon on.
Like here, flat, nothing.
It's called
waste of
Kipo,
land.
and it's like Kipo and the Wonder Beast.
Oh my god, I love that show.
It's fucking awesome.
It is.
It's just
I'm about to find it.
it's just very BIPOC centered, but it also kind of gives you an idea of what the world could be like if animals and plants retook the world basically, and we take backseat, and they learn how to they talk, they evolve, and yeah, but like it's really fucking cool. I watched the full series because it was just
It's on Netflix.
What's it called?
Kipo and the Wonder
It's
Beast.
Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast.
Yes,
Oh,
It's
I wanted
so
to
good.
watch
There are
that.
like two
it's
white
really
people in it.
good.
So there's
There
a
are like
show-
two white people and one of them's a villain.
uh-huh.
Like,
Yep.
like
So
amazing.
here, take this away from me. So you should watch. It's called After Human.
Oh,
It sounds familiar.
It's on the History Channel. Okay, and it talks about what would happen to our society if humans disappeared one day. Just disappeared. What would happen to our buildings? What would happen to our monuments? What would happen to our
Within
structures?
10 years, like
yeah, in some places.
In some places, yeah, but in some places,
40
less-
years is pretty impressive.
500
They didn't have
is-
soil all over
500
I
is
know
everything.
pretty
what's
much
happened
it.
to a house in the course of less than 20 years. I do. Nature completely took over the house I was abused in. Like they went straight through it, everything. It took over the entire, and they eventually just had to clear out the debris.
That is awesome.
But yeah,
Like, yeah.
going.
So I know
going
what it
back
can do.
to your question of like where we see it leaving in the
Right.
like 2024.
Right.
I still think shit's gonna get worse. Being realistic,
Mhm.
I see the economy still is gonna get even completely in shit. Our homeless rates are going to increase. Our people in prison are going to increase. Everything is going to get worse.
I
Then
think that's a
there's-
good thing.
I think that's the thing. Part of me feels like it's a good thing because I feel like that's motivation to stand the fuck up and do something about it.
Well, it's going to take a while.
Oh, and I'm not
Oh, yeah.
disagreeing at
It's
all. I
going
think
to
it's going
take
to
a
take a
lot.
lot.
But I feel like it leads with the things that's been happening already. It's a constant chipping away. You've seen all the different people organizing, unions. It's becoming a bit of a wave. It's not a fad. People literally are fed up because they're
Well,
being pushed to the
Did you
limit.
see that college class? There was this college class that this originalist was coming to speak at. If you're not familiar with that term, that's the term that like
It's always fire trucks
Taylor
and ambulances.
Green and them are a part of. What's her name? Margie Taylor Green.
Oh,
Yeah, and Kelly Blue Boulevard, too.
Yeah. So they're part of it. Now they've classified themselves as not being Republicans and not being conservatives. They classified themselves as being original. Would you like to know what an originalist
They're
is?
Trumplicans.
No. No, an originalist is someone who follows the original doctrines and ideas and ideologies of the founding fathers.
Right.
So
Yeah.
none of the women should be able to speak.
Uh-huh.
No, none of the women should be able to open their own bank account. What do you think?
Right.
And you should still be allowed to own
Or
another
vote, right?
person.
Where was my point? Jesus, I lost it. I was so excited. Oh, the college class.
Yes.
So this originalist was coming in to speak to this college class, and it was like 17 and 18-year-olds.
Mhm.
And as he walked into the room, all they said was "fuck the fascists."
Yeah, I saw that
I
clip.
saw that too.
Okay, and they were pounding on their fucking desks.
Yep.
And I was
seen that.
sitting there, and I was like,
Yes.
finally.
Dude, I'm telling you, this generation,
Mhm.
they're seeing through it real quick because
Give it like 7 to 10 more years because the push is already coming.
Well, but see, that's the whole problem. Like,
there has to be
so
a
the
mass
doomsday
awakening
fucking
somehow.
clock is ticking, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is what it is, whatever you want to do, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if we fix society, but the earth is fucked, it doesn't matter anything.
Well,
Yeah.
they say the sign of a successful society should be a drinkable river
But
and not
something,
people hoarding resources and
I
then
always said
selling
I'm
them
going
back
underground.
Du Bois,
I'm finding a nice cave
to
with
us.
some
Teenage
pure
Mutant
water.
Ninja- A cave.
Yeah.
Caves are scary.
No, they're not. We
I
can
don't want to go to a
we can
store.
plant- we can plant mirrors by the entrance to the cave that will reflect light into the cave, and we can grow algae and moss
Talk
on the
about it.
walls, and
There
it'll
was a
show us
There's some
about-
cool
civilization-
critters and some things.
There was a civilization in like the Middle East area where and it's still there, where they had like this ventilation system all the way up, and they were like a mile down.
In
almost.
India, they did that quite a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's some very, very deep ones, like hundreds of stories deep. It's beautiful.
It can be done. We can do it.
Oh, where is it?
The problem is our society is so materialistic.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
would have to take a lot of people to fully just disconnect themselves from the material
Yeah.
of society to be able to do it. I'm not disagreeing. I absolutely think it can be done. I just think, especially with
Recolonization. So yeah, it
Yeah,
takes
with
a lot. It
with
takes
my generation
sacrifice.
Skill
specifically
sets
of being at the
banded
forefront of a lot
together.
of things going on.
So we should measure the prosperity of a nation not by the number of millionaires, but by the absence of poverty, the prevalence of health, the efficiency of the public schools, and the number of people who can and do read worthwhile books. Not to mention the fact that everyone should be entitled to clean drinking water and fucking food, man. Why is there a price tag on a necessary component?
Yep.
Like, that's the part that fucks me up, because when you really get down to the fucking science of it, guess what? We have no right to charge for something that we have mutated 1,000 fucking times. Okay?
We're
Broccoli.
made of water, though.
Right, we are.
How
Absolutely.
the fuck you gonna charge us for it?
Mhm.
And we provide our own fucking water back to the system. You
Mhm.
evaporate water all the fucking time.
We piss it out.
Well, it's not even the piss. I'm talking about the
Yeah, I get what you're
mist in your
saying.
in your breath.
Yes.
Sweat?
You know,
all of
oh, it fucking drives me nuts.
Me too.
No, trust
I mean,
me.
even
I
in
get
fact, if
it,
you
like,
try to collect rainwater in many places and they find out,
No,
It's illegal.
it's not.
It's not in PA.
It's
not
not
in
in
PA,
PA
but
and
there's
48
certain
other
places,
states.
like I think in the Southwest, there's certain
No,
places, right?
it's legal in 48 other states.
so what's the
48
one?
states.
What's the one outlier?
I think one of them is in Hawaii, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other one, I don't fucking remember where it is. I think the annual rainfall is too low, and they can't risk losing water out of the water.
I mean, I have a whole problem with like tourism in Hawaii. It's like
Yeah, that's a
absolutely.
whole thing
that's
right
that's
there.
a whole thing because like they're
No,
literally
Hawaii and Puerto Rico.
yeah,
When they're asking
yeah,
you
especially
to not
Puerto
go
Rico,
there,
especially
don't go
yeah,
there.
like they're
Yeah.
literally natives who are
I'm-
begging people stop fucking coming here.
Mhm.
You know
You're
why?
making shit worse.
But do you know why? Do you know what tourists bring?
Money.
No, not just. That's fair though. It's good. They bring rats.
Yeah,
Do you know what rats do on an island?
waste.
No, they eat bird eggs. Rats eat bird eggs.
So it ruins their
ecosystem.
entire ecosystem.
It destroys
Oh, yeah.
their entire
Because-
fucking
Because it's an
ecosystem.
island, they have
Yeah.
nowhere else to
It's
go.
The birds
it's
do
a
the fish
situation
in the
they're
water,
facing right
the-
now
yeah,
in
the-
oh, why half the face is tattooed? Why can't I think of the name? Begins with an M. Maori.
Oh,
The
okay.
Maori are facing fucking. Oh my God, they slaughter 10 to 20,000 rats every like month, trying to save their fucking ecosystem because they
On
have
the
birds, they have small animals
Mhm.
there that can no longer eat because of the excess rat population, and it was all brought over in goods and services brought over by colonizers.
Mhm.
However you look at it, and we take, but we don't understand the balance. Like that's the whole fucking problem. It's not.
We're not taught that balance though.
And I think that's absolutely intentional.
Yeah, it's part of our culture to consume. That is
Right.
our character. So the whole give and take is missing.
Have you ever seen that sculpture done by that Russian? The one of the man in the gas mask, and he's wearing a gas mask with a hose that leads down to a glass jar that has the last tree on Earth.
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
That brings me to the Amazon.
They're just gonna cut it down and let the rest of it burn.
What pisses me off, and I think everyone here has heard of the People Summit that just happened, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all have seen, but like I'm getting chills right now because it was amazing. The people that were there, the things that they were talking about, it reminds me that we're not alone. Like there's people that are fed up and they're challenging us that way. Yeah. What pissed me off is that, like I think it was Venezuela, there's 2 other countries that he banned from coming, right? But you go meet with Bolsonaro in a private meeting, and the stipulations are that you can't talk about any of the obvious issues that need to be talked about. I mean, not that I really give a fuck about Biden because I can't stand him and I already wow.
Yeah.
He's like I have a lot
The
of issues
statue?
with Biden, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty terrible.
the rate of which things are going in Brazil, not even just with police brutality, but with the Amazon, is scaring the fuck out of me because
Which is completely understandable though. Like this has been a
Well,
big issue for a
so-
long
I
time.
feel like that's the one big thing that can really fuck shit up, and we won't know until
We're
it
already
hits a.
fucking shit up. We've
Yeah,
destroyed so many plankton, algae float on our fucking ocean. And what a lot of people don't realize is the mass deforestation is really minuscule compared to the loss of those. When you think about the fact that the Earth is 75% covered by water,
Mhm.
and of that 75% of the water, almost every single fucking square inch can be covered by the algae and plankton
Mhm.
that generate the oxygen that keep us fucking alive, and we have 2 fucking gigantic 5 times bigger than Texas. Texas, one of the biggest states in our fucking union, 5 times bigger than
Talk
that.
about it.
Of floating fucking plastic and
We have
garbage.
microplastics in our blood now.
Yeah,
Right. We
40%.
breathe it, and it's we're made up of that
40%
shit.
of the fish's waste
Yep.
that come out of the fucking ocean right
It's
now
plastic.
is plastic. Okay, and the only thing
That's why I don't eat fish, because it's plastic all through it.
well,
Not to
plastic
mention,
and mercury. I
well,
don't
not
see that's
ever
a whole
since
lot
ever
good
since
mix.
Fukushima, I stopped eating fish.
Fukushima. Have you seen that new documentary about it?
No.
So they're exploring Fukushima right now to
Got a new
see.
one?
No, yeah, it just came out.
Yeah,
It's a limited.
I got you. There's a new one. I watched the old one. I want to see the new one.
Yeah, but so they're exploring how the animals are not mutated in Fukushima. Around Fukushima, they're not. The plant life is thriving. The animal life is thriving.
Well, look at the exclusion zone around Chernobyl. Like, I mean, it's the same kind of deal.
No. But Chernobyl's chock full of mutations. Okay, there's a 14 to 35% increase in size and genetic malformations in the areas surrounding Chernobyl. However, this is the part that I really found fucking amazing about nature, right? The pigs that are there that are eating all of the toxic, it's similar to potassium, but it's the type of radiation molecule that was shed out into the atmosphere. They have a means that they have certain portions of their muscles within their body that actually have the ability to resist the damage and heal from it. So that's where they store the radiation. The birds in the area, which were originally had brilliant plumes of multiple colors, turns out that those plumes that are full of multiple colors are actually chock full of antioxidants, which can resist the radiation. So in turn, they're losing their colors, but they're gaining the antioxidant resistance. And then you have the rat and mice population, which are showing no signs of mutation either. Okay, why? Because while they are being exposed to it, at the same time, their body's automatically adapting to it. I think birds have already gone through radiation exposure like that. Maybe that's the reason why they developed brilliant colors.
Also, we've had evidence of radiation exposure in civilization. I don't think it's what you're talking about is too far-fetched. I think
Right.
for us, it's just there's a lot of different things that can be factored into this, but we are essentially puppets of whatever y'all want to call them. So there's always that fear factor thrown in. I will say though, I'm not eating fish.
But yeah, no, I get that. But I'm just saying, like, it's amazing to me just how it demonstrates the tenacity of our planet, and we're still
Yeah, I do want to see that documentary.
throwing it under the fucking
Same.
bus, man. Like, we've got entire groups of creatures that have responded to an extremely toxic event.
Have y'all heard
we
of
are
that? I
burning
think
this
it's
bitch to the
bacteria that eats plastic, or that they're work. Okay, awesome.
We talk about this.
So
all the
it's a
time.
fungus. It's a fungus, and the CDC
Awesome,
has
yes.
several samples of it right now, but they're terrified that it's going to get out because of the simple fact of it doesn't discern plastic.
Yeah.
It just sees, connects, and feeds on plastic. So, what all is made out of plastic? Everything. Cars, electronic devices,
We would have a big problem.
Well, they would
surgical
have a big
implants.
No,
Surgical
we
implants.
would. I mean, we wear plastic.
Yeah.
We're
90
made of plastic.
90%
It's in our bodies.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I'm
So
down
it's
for
kind of
them.
like a bacterial infection or a fungus infection in
Yeah,
your
it's
body.
Yeah, and it would feast on you and thrive.
That's for them.
Imagine that like 10% of your weight right now is plastic, and then
Yeah.
imagine 10% of your weight being shaved off. To give you an idea of what 10% of your weight is, cut off your arm midway up your bicep. That's 10% of your weight. And that's how much you would disappear if a fungus got inside of you that loves plastic. I'm kind of down with fungus.
Well, I mean,
That definitely
Fungi
sounds like
created the
something rich white
world,
ladies
but-
would pay for.
I'm fine with them taking it. It's
Imagine
their
you can
world.
shed 10% of your weight just by getting sick for 3 weeks.
You can buy tapeworms for the same reason.
But
People
no,
do.
but I mean,
Capitalism.
If you
Yes.
unleashed,
Breeds innovation.
let's say that you unleash this bacteria, right? And you unleash it onto the giant garbage floats that are out in the middle of the ocean. Okay, at least we take care of them. They're gone. We figure something else out. Maybe something that doesn't destroy the entire fucking environment. Maybe like hemp that's been around for I don't fucking even know how many years and can be made into a plastic-like material that actually fucking degrades and doesn't stick around with a half-life of 2,500.
But
It's a
I
conifer,
would
it's been around
I
since
would I
we've
would
been around.
rather go the route of hemp and not the fungi because listen, it's not even just what y'all laughing about. But listen,
No, you're
I was
good.
thinking
Listen.
about that extra small T-shirt and how you just became.
You were saying, obviously, you could give us like the inside to it, like the deeper thought to it. But like, yeah.
Imagine placing that order at the store. I need a triple extra small.
A 14 maybe.
oh, where's my thought?
Like a shirt for a 5-year-old. Like
But I'm
that.
really 600 months.
Humanity we fuck up so much enough. We need to stop trying to fix the things that we fuck up and let nature do its work.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. And
No,
that's the fungus.
but man found that.
No, man found it. Found, not create.
Yeah,
Found.
It
so
was already
well,
there.
No. The fungus evolved all by itself. And if one fungus does it,
Why can't others?
others are going to. The mycelium network is fucking insane.
yes,
It's gonna
Yeah.
figure it out.
I was
and it's gonna
hoping
be
you would
like-
get there.
And it's gonna fucking figure it out. And when it figures it out, shit's gonna change because you're gonna see an instantaneous degradation of fucking everything.
Mhm.
I mean, cars are gonna fall apart. Roads are gonna fall apart.
Everything. But literally, our
Asphalt
world is
going
built off
to
of
fall
plastic.
apart.
Oh, I can't
The
wait for
asphalt
that
will
to happen.
crumble into gravel as the fungi grow. Oh my god, I will live in a fungus world. I am so down. It'll be like Super Mario World. Fucking A.
I don't know if
I want to build a
That's
mushroom house. I need this shit to happen. I'm so down. Who wouldn't want to live in a mushroom? I can get a little red hat and wear a blue shirt and some tan pants and some black boots, and I will become David the motherfucking Duck.
It sounds like a Smurf.
I was gonna say I would totally be a Smurf and live in a Smurf house any day.
I'd be scared to death of every house.
I would say as long as I'm not trying to have a big ass cat and this big nose like
That's why I
wizard
was going
dude,
with David the
I'm
Gnome
cool.
and not Papa Smurf.
So there's a whole ass like subplot of villains within the Smurfs, so I'm cool on that.
Yeah, do you want to know the villains in David the Gnome? A fox.
capitalism.
Same
Nice.
thing.
Bless you.
Oh. What was you reaching?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. But
I
yeah,
keep getting distracted and
I
hitting
would
this thing.
love
and I really
that
don't
world.
need to.
And that's why people are homeless, folks.
Yeah, let's
Super
wanna
Mario
get-
World.
get into that. That would probably solve the homelessness problem a lot of time. Just create, like take over shit. People would have to move. All these rich ass white people would get bored of their fungi filled houses.
Do you understand exactly how much would fall apart? Houses would fall.
I want to
You
put
wouldn't
the
have pipes in
fungi.
your house.
I want to put the fungi in their pools. Watch.
What?
I don't know about that. I don't
What?
want to be anywhere near.
I want to put the fungi in the rich people's pools and just watch.
I'll be in my cave.
If I can watch this from a distance and just watch
Your cameras,
want
they
rich
all have
white people
cameras.
lose their fucking shit,
The cameras
when
are
their
gonna get
shit starts
destroyed.
falling
Let's go live
apart,
when you do it, okay?
Oh, but
that's a visceral reaction. I'm here
Again,
for
the
it.
cameras are gonna get destroyed.
Do you know what I just realized?
What?
There will be nothing.
I'm down.
No, they were literally.
You have to
be
understand.
nothing because it's going to eat the electrical. It's going to eat the electrical wires. It's going to eat the plastic coating that's around them, which is going to cause them all to fuse, which is going to short circuit fucking everything. It's going to eat circuit boards. It's going to destroy computers.
But the way that I think of things evolving and the symbiotic relationship between the earth, the trees, and fungi already, I could see it becoming like a new sentient. Well, yeah, I already see it that way, but It's
I was going to say, how do you define sentience?
yeah. Well,
Because I mean, they've been governing our planet for the past.
I
would
see
check
the
your
way
phone.
that I see it is we're cells in a body.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you really want to talk about it, then fungus would be the brain.
Mhm.
Exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yes. Precisely.
Like
So
I
I see it as like a taking back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, you mean that plants are harvesting people?
Mm-hmm. Go figure. And you know what? On that note, that's a good one to end
Huh?
on.
What?